Our headlines today. A row over a move to ban an Israeli football team's fans from a match at Aston Villa on security grounds. The Prime Minister says it's the wrong decision.
Donald Trump prepares to host Volodymyr Zelensky at the White House after announcing another meeting with Vladimir Putin.
A warning that banks are missing opportunities to prevent people falling for romance scams. The financial regulator calls for better support for vulnerable people.
Good morning. In sport, the Bulls are back. The four-time Super League champions Bradford have been granted a place in the top flight again at the expense of beleaguered Salford City Reds.
Sam Fender!
And Sam Fender wins this year's Mercury Prize at a ceremony in his hometown of Newcastle.
We didn't think that was going to happen at all. I've just spent the last 10 minutes crying.
A new digital version of the ID card issued to military veterans is being launched by the government. Ministers say it will make it easier to access services and other help. The digital version, downloaded on smartphones, will be optional and physical cards will still be issued. A development of almshouses for the elderly has won this year's Sterling Prize for Architecture. 51 flats in South London have been designed to make downsizing more sociable and appealing. It beat competition from the new home of the London College of Fashion and the restoration of the Elizabeth Tower, which houses Big Ben. The brother of a British child who disappeared in Australia more than 50 years ago has urged a key person of interest to come forward or face the possibility that his anonymity will end. 3-year-old Cheryl Grimmer was abducted from Fairy Meadow Beach in Wollongong in January 1970. The case remains unsolved.
Let's have a look at some of the papers for you this morning. The front page is Guardian. Let's look there first, one of several to follow the collapsed prosecution of 2 British men who've been accused of spying for China. The paper says MPs are pressing the Director of Public Prosecution for an explanation. Daily Mail has a photograph of Prince Andrew meeting a Chinese official. The paper calls the alleged spy master at the heart of the case. It says the Duke of York met him 3 times.
Now some breaking news, and in the last few minutes, Prince Andrew has announced that he will no longer use his royal title or the honours which have been conferred on him. In a statement, he said continued allegations against him were distracting from the work of the King.
The Express leads on the story about fans of the Israeli football club Maccabi Tel Aviv being told that they can't watch their team play at Villa Park in Birmingham. The paper calls that decision a national disgrace. And Don't Fight Alone is the Sun headline, alongside a photograph of the late boxer Ricky Hatton, whose inquest was opened yesterday. It says his family has set up a mental health charity in Ricky's name. The Financial Conduct Authority says some banks are missing opportunities to step in to prevent people falling for romance scams. The regulator says that victims are often tricked into sending money or making false investments by fraudsters who've engineered fake relationships online. Here's more from our cost of living correspondent, Kevin Peachy.
Anyone looking for love may turn to online dating sites. But experts are warning that not everyone is quite what they seem. That special someone may not be special at all. Varun thought he had met a life partner, only to be suckered into an investment scam.
There were red flags earlier on, which I ignored. I think the big red flag was when I initially lost the money. My therapist as well did tell me this thing that, hey, look, you are a victim of a scam. You're willing to lose the money, but you're not willing to lose the person.
He wanted to tell his story so others won't fall victim. But cases are rising, with more and more people sending money to fraudsters who engineer fake relationships online. The latest figures show that more than £106 million was lost to romance fraud in the UK in the 2024-25 financial year, with victims losing, on average, more than £11,000. And a new report from the FCA out today says that cases rose by 9% last year, as it urges banks and other payment firms to do more to help protect people from romance scammers. In one case, a victim made more than 400 payments to a fraudster over the course of a year. Banks should be alert to such unusual activity, the regulator says. And experts are urging everyone on a dating site to look beyond the online profile and never send money, no matter how sad or attractive the story you're told.
They will avoid meeting you in person. There'll always be some kind of excuse why they don't want to meet you. There will be love bombing really early on in the communication. So there'll be an escalation of this like real intense feeling to get you in and hooked in. Then there'll be some unrealistic story, and it could involve a really tragic incident. When you ask questions around that, they'll become hostile. So you might start picking up on some warning signals, and ultimately it will end in a request for money.
Those fraudsters are so manipulative, some victims believe they're still in a relationship, even after the scam is exposed. So it may fall to family and friends to recognise the romance fraud red flags. Kevin Peachy, BBC News.
Tonight at 6, more revelations around the funeral home scandal in Hull after its former director admitted fraud. A mother whose son was stillborn tells the BBC what happened when she discovered not only were the ashes not his, but her son hadn't been cremated.
I am trying to forgive him. There must have been some reason why he did that.
Also tonight, the ban on fans of an Israeli team attending a Europa League match at Aston Villa. Now Downing Street says it's working to resolve the row. President Zelensky is about to arrive at the White House for his third meeting with President Trump. He's hoping the US will arm Ukraine with missiles that can strike deep into Russia. Looking for love online, more and more people hoping for romance are being tricked out of money by fraudsters.
The asylum seeker accused of murdering a hotel worker appeared to be having a good time with friends after the attack.
Sam Fender!
The Geordie singer lost for words, winning music's most coveted prize. Special honour for the author who inspired generations of children across the world with Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. The BBC has confirmed it will go ahead with broadcasting the latest series of Celebrity MasterChef, which will feature sacked co-presenter John Turturro. The 60-year-old was fired in the summer after an allegation against him using an extremely offensive racist term was upheld. That came just weeks after former co-host Greg Wallace was also sacked after more than 40 allegations of inappropriate behaviour were found to be substantiated. Tributes have been paid to guitarist and co-founder of the American glam rock band Kiss, Ace Frehley, who has died aged 74. Frehley is perhaps best known for his hit cover of the song New York Groove. With Kiss, he was famous for his Star Child face paint and pyrotechnic guitar solos. In a statement, his family said they were completely devastated.